Welcome back to the Deep Dive. You hand us the sources, we hand you the distilled insight. Today, we're going really deep into ancient Egyptian mythology. We're focusing on Anubis, a deity you think you know, but, well, maybe not entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some fascinating source material here. Excerpts called Anubis, Roles of the Jackal God, and they pull heavily from the words of the scribes. What's great is this isn't modern interpretation. It's like we're hearing echoes of how the ancients recorded their own stories of old about him.
Exactly. And our goal today really is to get past that simple image, Anubis just guarding a tomb. The scribes themselves called him a many-faceted deity. That's the key we need to unpack. So we're going to trace all these different roles he had, these responsibilities, to get to what the texts call the lasting revelation, which is essentially that he's incredibly complex, foundational even to their whole idea of the afterlife.
Okay, so let's start broad. Looking at what the scribes actually assigned him. Anubis seems defined by action. He's very hands-on, very responsible. But the actions themselves kind of swing, don't they, between really protective, almost fierce, and then quite supportive and gentle. Right, let's tackle the most direct roles first. He's got these two functions that seem almost opposite, happening at the same time. First, there's the protector. The sources are pretty blunt. He is there to protect. Simple as that. The guardian.
Yeah, the physical guardian of the tomb, making sure nothing disturbs the body. Very straightforward, very necessary. But then, right alongside that, he's the psychopomp, the guide. The text says he guides the lost.
Ah, okay. So not just a guard dog, then?
Not at all. Think about the wisdom that requires. He's not just fending off tomb robbers. He's basically the navigator for the newly dead, guiding them through the chaos and darkness of the duat, the underworld.
So it requires both strength of the living intruders and, deep understanding for the souls.
Precisely. Force and empathy, which is already getting interesting.
Yeah. And that idea of wisdom that connects directly to his next big role, doesn't it? The really technical one, the Embalmer.
Yes, and he gets specific praise for it. The sources highlight his Embalmer's skill. They even say he is wise in his task.
This isn't just symbolic, is it? It sounds quite practical.
Oh, absolutely practical. This is where, mythology meets actual historical procedure. Mummification wasn't just religious ritual. It was incredibly specialized. You needed real knowledge of anatomy, chemistry, preservation, all that.
Because the body had to be perfect, right, for the soul.
Exactly. Yeah. They believed the ka and the ba parts of the soul needed to recognize their old body to achieve eternal life. So the preservation had to be flawless. So when the scribes say Anubis has this wise task, they're basically elevating the whole procedure. It's like divine science.
He's the master craftsman, ensuring eternity is even possible.
Right. If he messes up this very detailed job, the soul is potentially lost. So his skill here, it kind of underpins everything else he does. His authority starts here, in a way.
Okay, so this meticulous, careful god of preservation. He's also the one with judicial power. That seems like a jump.
It does, but it follows logically in their system. If the body's preserved, the soul can then proceed to judgment. And that's where Anubis takes on his judge's authority.
The sources say this role requires him to make the tough choices. Now, usually you see Thoth writing things down at the weighing of the heart ceremony.
Right, but that's a key difference. Thoth is like the court reporter recording the outcome. Anubis, he's more like the presiding judge.
So he's overseeing the whole thing,
yeah.
Ensuring fairness.
Yes, ensuring the mechanism works, that the scales weighing the heart against Ma'at's feather are accurate. And crucially, he seems to hold the, let's say, executive authority over the outcome itself.
So Thoth records, but Anubis effectively passes sentence based on the result.
That's how it reads. The burden of making the tough choices isn't just about observation, it's about the final decision. Paradise, or being devoured by a mit. He implements the verdict.
Wow, okay, that really shifts the perspective. The same God needing that delicate embalmer's touch is also making these absolute final judgments.
And that contrast, that necessary tension in his character, really starts to explain why the scribes emphasize this complexity, which leads us nicely beyond just the list of jobs into what he symbolizes.
Right, more than just tasks.
Exactly. To handle that range, the precision, the protection, the guidance, and the judgment, the texts define him as a symbol of balance. They explicitly say he embodies duality.
Duality, okay. How so?
Well, it's not just good versus evil. It's more like order and chaos, or transition and permanence. He exists right on that threshold, doesn't he? The edge between the living world and the world of the dead.
Ah, I see. Protecting the tomb that's order for the living. escorting the soul that's transitioned for the dead.
Precisely. And his ability to manage that dangerous crossing, to stand firm in both realities, that's what gives his judgment such weight, such authority. He understands both sides.
Okay, this is where the deep dive really gets interesting, moving away from the more common images. The sources give him another role, connected to knowledge itself.
Yes, not just knowing the path for the dead, but knowledge in a bigger sense. Discovery. The scribes called it the mysteries unfold.
And the text says, he reveals the unknown. What does that mean in practice?
Well, it suggests he's more than just an afterlife guide. He's like a keeper of secrets, profound secrets about how the cosmos is structured.
So this connects him to their whole way of understanding the world, their epistemology.
It seems so. If Anubis reveals the unknown, you have to ask, what unknown? It could be knowledge of celestial paths, the complex routes through the duat, maybe even the right words or symbols needed to interact with other gods.
So understanding life and death is tied to the process of dying itself through him.
It suggests that, yes, he's not just overseeing a procedure, he's guarding the map, the operating manual, for a reality beyond our physical world.
That feels huge, much bigger than just the god of mummification.
It arguably represents the peak of his wisdom, even beyond the embalming skill. It really cements him as a core, foundational deity in their thinking.
And all of this together, the functional roles, the symbolic weight, the judgment, the revealing of mysteries, it all leads to this idea of his permanence, right? His endurance.
Exactly. The scribes wrap it up with this phrase, the complexity endures.
And they say, quite simply, he is there forever.
Which isn't just saying, people worshipped Anubis for a long time. It feels more like a theological statement. Meaning, the structure he represents, this necessary balance, this blend of different, even opposing roles, is fundamental and permanent, essential to how their cosmos works.
His complexity isn't just a feature, it's the point.
Precisely. His many facets, his sometimes contradictory roles, his symbolic weight, it's all woven into the fabric of their reality. You take away one piece, the wise embalmer, the fair judge, the guide, the revealer, and their whole system for understanding the afterlife kind of wobbles.
It collapses.
It collapses. His enduring presence, his being there forever, confirms the ultimate understanding the scribes had. He's complex because the journey from life to death is complex, and you need a deity multifaceted enough to manage it all.
So bringing it all together, you've got the protector for the body, the embalmer ensuring its perfection, the guide for the soul's journey, leading to the judge who has to make the tough choices. It really paints a picture of a deity with immense integrity.
Cohesion.
Yes, cohesion is a great word. Every role informs the others. It justifies that final description of him being profoundly complex. And that synthesis, that unified picture from the ancient texts, that's the lasting revelation they talk about. He embodies all these diverse roles, grounded in deep symbolism. He's not just a god of the dead. He's a god of critical transitions, of technical mastery, of ultimate authority, of hidden knowledge.
It's a lot for one deity to handle.
It really is. And maybe that's the final thought for you listening. Think about that duality we discussed. One single figure has to embody both the tough choices, that absolute, potentially harsh judgment, and also the gentle guidance for the lost, which requires real empathy, real care. What does that tell you about how the ancient Egyptians viewed divinity? Or maybe even perfection?
It suggests maybe that true justice, for them, couldn't exist without mercy and guidance built into it, and that real wisdom lies in knowing how and when to apply both perfectly.
It definitely makes you wonder if their gods needed that kind of perfect balance to handle cosmic responsibilities. What kind of standards did they imagine for themselves, just living their lives?
Something to think about. The sheer weight of that divine balancing act.
Absolutely. Plenty to chew on there about the complexities in the ancient world. Join us next time for another deep dive.